Nice, thank you.
You
Oh, here we go.
Here it is.
That's a good one.
Okay, let's go. Next
All
one.
right.
Have you here? Welcome.
We sing it loud and clear. Relax.
Enjoy the program.
And won't you come back
You see us.
again? All
All right, now Ken Manel, all by yourself.
Ken.
All right.
All right, so our calendar, we have our board meeting next week at 11 o'clock. And on the next week, we have a presentation by our own Lisa Norambabo on the YMCA. And then on the 19th, part 2 of the Salton Sea. And on the 26th, Andy is going to have club assembly. So we need some programs for June.
Actually, we're working on that with the program committee. We're going to kind of maybe go back to some of our regulars that were scheduled from March on.
Perfect. All right. Member moments. Do we have any member moments today? It's kind of a relief not to right now because we've had so many sad ones of late, but last week was a nice one, very nice one with our newest member of our Rotary family. Okay, next. Oh, go ahead, Andy.
Oh, there's really not much to be said about these. Kurt, I wish he was here with us today, celebrated his 12th anniversary last week. Our friends from Salvation Army got their own personalized face masks to go out and do the good that they're doing.
Perfect.
Let's see here. Oh, Rosa.
Oh, Rosa. What a cutie.
So sweet.
And even better, she's promoting a local business.
Yeah.
Yay.
Let's see, Wayne. Congratulations.
Hey.
Wow, awesome. Good.
Other than the Tar Heels, but yeah, you know.
So Wayne just got a raise, right?
Yes, he
Isn't that how
did.
that
Yeah.
works? At least that's what you hope.
Leela shared this very nice little poem.
Yes.
It's the words
It's
to
the
the song
song.
Smile.
Yes,
Smile.
the song
Well-
Smile.
See, I thought she was just a poet and didn't know it.
No, it's a song. It's a beautiful
But
song.
she probably did the words to the song, but yeah, I saw right away it's the song Smile.
Yeah.
Lovely.
And then
Right. Frank,
And then
tell us about our birthdays.
Rotarian birthdays. We have quite a few this month. The month of May must be a good month. Okay, we start off with Ron Giles on the 4th of May. We have Delisle on the 5th of May. Joe Parrish on the 5th of May as well. Dara Saranka on the 6th of May. Bernie Blaney on the 8th of May. And of course, Jackie Skay on the 10th.
who?
Jackie Skay.
Krista
Hey. You forgot.
and Christo.
And Christo Malakis on the 10th of May. Bradford Baker on the 18th. Laura Stees on the 19th of May. Jeff Peters on the 25th. Randy Hall on the 27th. On the 28th is Lisa Norambaba. And on May 30th is Jeff Ty. Now, the birthstone for the month of May is the emerald, beautiful stone. Flower is the lily of the valley. So with that, let's sing a rousing happy birthday to our Rotarians.
Happy
Birthday to you.
Happy
Happy birthday to you.
you.
Happy
birthday, dear Rotarian. Happy
Happy birthday to you.
It didn't work that.
We missed the music part, but
Yeah.
anyway, happy birthday, everybody.
Well, we missed the cake too, so.
I know.
I made it.
I won my cake. I needed to.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't we all, Rosa? Okay,
made
let's move
I
on.
made a cake for you, but no one came to Borrego.
Oh.
All
Fun
right.
song.
So
Hi,
I
Amy.
Hi.
Amy actually posted this on her Facebook page, and I wanted to share it as the fun song today because we didn't have one.
Oh, okay.
Get ready for this one.
Nice.
That is great. Thank you
Way
for
to go,
sharing
Amy.
that,
That was
Amy.
fun. Was
You're
that Sam the
right.
Chamois in the Pharaohs?
Yeah, that was.
Identify them.
Okay, what's next here?
Next, we're actually onto the program. Colleen's not here to introduce it. So this is the second part about identifying fake media, fake news, how to
Fake news.
protect yourself, and how to be able to talk to each other about our different opinions. So I'm sorry, Colleen, you're not here to introduce it, but I think we can go on from here, right?
Yes.
All right.
When we do, we write up an article, we use sources. I've interviewed several physicians, MDs, to give medical.
Oh, shoot. Come on. Let's try that again.
When we do, we write up an article, we use sources. I've interviewed several physicians, MDs, to give medical scientific information that contradicts claims that are being made. And we source them and we post our articles online with links and hyperlinks and all sorts of elements, so people can see, and they can obviously form their own opinion. But what we do is we flag these.
Oh, come on.
These posts on Facebook, so that if you do share content that has false information, you get a little notification that pops up that says, you are sharing false information. It was rated false by a third-party fact checker. Read below the reasons why. And people can, again, believe it or not, they're allowed to have their own opinions, of course. It's a free country. But, that information needs to be out there. And I feel strongly, as someone who, even as a First Amendment advocate, I still feel that sharing dangerously false information, particularly about a pandemic, where lives are at stake, I think it's crucial that if false information is being shared, that it be countered with information that isn't. And so that's why I think this is a really, as I say, this is doing the Lord's work. I truly believe it in many ways. It's not supposed to be PR. There's a difference.
Right.
PR is public relations. Journalism is reporting facts. Do journalists make mistakes? I say this again, yes, they do make mistakes, but they are, bound by, practical ethics and journalistic guidelines where they have to correct their mistakes and put out corrections. And I don't see fake news sites doing that. It's dangerous information that gets out there from all sorts of sources, and that's why we exist, to try to share what we hope people will believe is factual information. But again, they're going to make up their own minds. They're going to believe what they want to believe, and that's their right.
So that reminds me. So you actually set up a time to talk to political strategists on both sides to get their take on it. Before we watch the video, could you tell me what that was like to talk to those two guys?
Yeah, I used to look after a news program out of Los Angeles for CNN International, and I had two regular guests, a Democratic strategist and a Republican consultant, and they're actually frenemies. That's what they like to call each other. They're friends
how cute.
who are both, on different sides of the political spectrum. And we met at a sushi restaurant in Studio City, and then I filmed them and just asked for their sort of take on looking at fake news through the political spectrum. Take a look.
There's just such a volume of information. Even those credible outlets even occasionally cause you to scratch your head and go, how credible really is it when they jump the shark and make a mistake?
It's more subjective and it plays into their emotions. And I think perhaps sometimes the facts and objectiveness are more boring. So if you're a voter and you're not, furiously sort of Googling news stories on a regular basis, looking for objective information, you're just scrolling through your newsfeed on social media, you probably came across misinformation and perhaps might have believed those facts. I mean, let's face it, Donald Trump won the election by 80,000 or so votes. And I'm fully confident that that was a number of voters that perhaps could have been swayed one way or another.
I think it played a role. To think that a few $100,000 of Facebook ads spread across the country flipped a race that was not a low information contest seems to me a bit of a stretch. My opponents, just like my candidates, should be able to literally say whatever they want. And it's the job of our opposition and their supporters to exploit that and expose that.
I just think that this should be a bipartisan issue. I think both parties should be of the mindset that we need objective information, that should be fact-based information that is not misleading the public. I think that's a disservice to our democracy and to what this country was founded upon.
You mentioned that your parents are obviously your intended, beneficiary / sounding board for developing these tips. But in your project, you also talk about how to listen and get along with with people who disagree with you or are following different news sources. And again, you talked to Dr. Flores. And tell me about why you included this in your project and why you think it's important.
Yeah, I think it was just something that I thought about before I reached out to her, is that I really wanted to do something on the topic of, how to talk to others about sharing fake news. And, again, it stems back to conversations I've had, with my own parents. And, she offered really awesome advice on how it's not just really sharing fake news, it's really kind of meeting people halfway in any conversation. How many times have you sat across the table from someone and had a political conversation and it just got so heated because you weren't listening to them and they weren't listening to you. And I thought she shared some really good advice just on navigating that situation. So check that out.
You don't need to prove someone wrong in order for you to be right. And so you're just going to be like kind of going with it. That's kind of like what the advice that I give. It's like, you know in your mindset what you believe in. And so like if you believe firmly in it, you don't need to defend it as much, but you don't need to argue about everything. Additionally, I suggest that, and everybody will take a deep breath with this one, at least once a week, watch the other side. Read articles from the other side. At least once a week, right? Because you want to be well informed, and then consider the possibility that maybe 10% or 20%, whatever you wish, might be true, so that you could get a little bit more awareness of what's happening. And thirdly, most of the time, an argument will subside or reduce, like the tension will reduce if you just listen without thinking about what you're going to respond back, right? You're just listening. You might actually learn something too as you're listening. And then you give two positives and one critique. So for example, you make a really good point with that. I never thought of it this way, like I'm definitely going to look into that. However, have you considered ... right? And so this way it makes someone more open to discussion once they realize that, okay, you are actually actively listening to them and considering their stance. Lastly, I'm encouraging people to take a break from social media, maybe just like, 1 or 2 days if possible. Everybody seems to be addicted to it nowadays, but just to remember that you still have this whole other life out there, right? And you don't have to get into these battles every single day. It's just kind of good for you to just recharge and not and not participate in all of this.
Before I let you go back to your very busy life, what question should I ask you that we haven't covered yet here today?
Well, I think there is one dangerous area of fake news that poses a concern down the road that we haven't really talked about, and that's deepfakes. And deepfakes are these artificial manipulated videos where sound bites or video have been manipulated to show people saying things that they didn't really say. And I put together a video about that on my site, sofake.net, which you can check out later. But deepfakes pose a real concern because what if someone creates a video of a CEO saying something and it manipulates the stock price, or a video is shared of a presidential candidate saying something he never said, and people will believe it even if they deny they ever said it, So artificial intelligence has gotten so advanced that people can create these high-tech videos that look very real. So I do think, one of these dangerous fronts in the fight against fake news is going to be these deep fake videos. And I think a lot of people are right to be concerned about it because, can we as fact checkers keep up with technology? That's the real question here. So it's going to be something we're going to have to keep an eye on.
This was very truly surprising for me.
So a deepfake video is a video made with the aid of artificial intelligence that portrays someone doing and or saying something that they never actually did or said.
He was like trying to place me, So he sat down next to me, he's like, I love your work.
This is a dangerous time. Moving forward, we need to be more vigilant with what we trust from the internet.
it's a bit of an arms race in the sense that for every advance that people working on detecting deepfakes make, those who are designing methods to create deepfakes can stay a step ahead. And so yes, the tools exist to detect deepfakes, but they're not perfect. Just because we read something in print or on social media doesn't mean it's necessarily true. We now need to unlearn the habit that we have of assuming that just because we see something on video, it necessarily happened.
Ryan, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to do this for us. And my Rotary Club thanks you very much as well. Before I let you go back to your very busy life, is there anything else you want to share with us?
Well, thanks again for having me. I really like Escondido, having visited there, you know, and seeing your place before we went to the Gonzaga game in San Diego. It was just a lovely place, and so I'm sure you all enjoy living there very much. The only thing I would say is just to reinforce what was in one of my videos, and if you take nothing else away, remember this: think before you believe, check before you share. That's the best advice for navigating the crazy world of social media, because there's just a lot of silliness and a lot of crazy stuff out there. But I think that advice can serve us all well as we continue our online activities.
All right, perfect. And then from there, I'm going to roll to the references. I did not.
Yeah, well, that's what the first 15 minutes was for. There's 43 people online. I have your
All right. Well, boy, that was a quick meeting, huh?
Wow.
Andrew,
Yes.
are we able to download that tape, or is it a
Yes.
call?
There is on the Escondido Rotary YouTube page, which I will send a link out again. Everything except for the Salton Sea will be on that page. All of these meetings will be on the page. I'm recording them. All of the videos that I'm putting together for this are on that page. The Salton Sea won't be on there because it's actually owned by PBS. So we're going to leave it on their video page, but we will provide links to that.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Andrew, are we paying you enough for this job?
All the friends that I'm making, that's payment. That's all the payment I need.
Yeah, and we're going to triple his salary on July 1st, right?
I just don't want him to wear himself out before he takes over.
No, are you kidding? He's like the Energizer Bunny, right?
Yeah, it is.
Sure.
Let's have a virtual party.
Yes. I know. We should. You know what? We should have each had a margarita in our hands today.
Right.
So we could have
drive by my house and get something.
Yeah.
Are you telling us that there's not going to be a demotion?
That's in Paul's capable hands.
Ozzy, a couple of weeks ago, he mentioned we would do it in the fall, since it's likely we're not meeting for the rest of Jan's year. So we are having a big demotion, but down the road.
Oh.
Yeah, but I don't have to keep the job until then.
Come on, please.
Andy takes over July 1st. So.
Oh no.
Yeah. Hey, I just want to say for the record, I still will plan the demotion. But Jan, you are the past president as of the 1st of July.
Yes, but I'm not going to plan my own demotion.
Oh no, of course not. No. I've already made arrangements with Andrew on how we're going to do this.
Oh, I think I'm in trouble. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Let's just say Chippendales has gotten a phone call.
I'm into that.
And by the way, kudos to the mayor. He gave a great presentation this morning with the Chamber of Commerce. I don't know how many of you saw it, but
Oh,
I
no.
missed
representing Rotary very well, and what a great mayor that's taking care of us with this.
Great.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I didn't see it, but thank you anyway, Paul.
You're more than welcome. And thanks for the shout out, Vaughn.
You're welcome, man.
Yeah.
Has anyone noticed that Randy and Jan are always in the same spot?
No, actually, she's about 100 feet down south of me because you can see.
Oh,
the
yeah, that's
property.
right. See?
Social distancing.
The trees are the opposite there.
You can see the background.
Don't we wish we were there, huh, Randy?
Yeah, that's
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, have a wonderful rest of the week. The thought for the week: our children are our only hope for the future, but we are their only hope for their present and their future. So, yes.
Yes,
We
and
need
here
to
we go.
take care. We need to take care of their future now. So,
And one
all
last
right.
video for today. One last video for today.
Okay.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, come
Yes,
on.
thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Andrew.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Enjoy yourself. Goodbye. 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 Bye. Well, goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Time to say goodbye.
I loved it. That was awesome.
That was so
Andrew,
funny.
you're good.
Bye.
So we'll keep. I'll keep this open so everyone can say goodbye.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. So long. Auf Wiedersehen. Farewell. It's time to go. Bye. 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 Bye.
Bob.
Oh, God.
Oh, did I hear the bell ring?
The meeting is over.
The meeting is officially over, but you can chat with everybody.
It's time for margaritas.
We got a couple of
Ready.